Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hunter Foreman. I'm the creator, founder of Flight 96, the podcast, and this is a little mini series I like to call Talking to the People. This is part 2. Now, what this is just giving you guys some game. And what I mean by game is just giving you guys some positive talk for your week, for your month, maybe your day, and just, to make you feel good about your upcoming events in life. And I want to start off with something that I learned from a wrestler. Ha ha ha, yes, I watch wrestling, blah blah blah. I get it. I get that. And before I go any further, yes, I know it's fake, but that's not the reason why I watch it. The reason why I watch it is because for a psychological standpoint. Yes, I know it's predetermined, but I'm not watching it for that reason. I'm watching it because I'm saying, why is this person winning instead of this person? Why is this person getting this much airtime instead of this person when this person is, more deserving of it? That's why. End of discussion. Now, the quote that I learned was, I don't lose, I learn. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that's wrestler talk. That really doesn't mean anything. This is his character. This is his character. And then I really had to dissect it. Now, now I know what you're thinking. It's like, you really took that seriously? But if you just open your minds for a little bit, let me elaborate. I don't lose, I learn. For example, you get knocked out in a fight. You didn't lose. You just know what to do when you get into the next fight. Think about it. Now, it may, you may get that losing feeling for a little bit, but if you see that person again and y'all end up, scrapping it out, you know what not to do. If he took you to the ground last time, don't let him take you to the ground, and then you'll probably win. Simple as that. That is a perfect example of how that would be. Another one is, if you lost $20,000. If you lost $20,000, you know now what exactly not to do in order to keep that money. Meaning, and this goes hand in hand with another quote from Rocky. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how you can get hit and keep moving forward. Another one is, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the size of the fight in the dog. The reason why people gravitate towards Rocky so much, he wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the smallest. He just had the most heart. And I think that people kind of just look at that stuff and, oh, that's corny and it's corny. You have to understand that corny stuff that you may just brush aside is probably some of the truest stuff that you will ever hear in your life. Clearly. No debating. That's a battle rap reference, but I'll explain that later. But, I sit there, so I sit sometimes and I wonder, why people get so hung up on these losses, these so-called losses, when you could be taking that energy that you're using to whine and complain about the loss that you took, turning it into something positive and making sure that loss never happens again. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like the Pittsburgh Steelers losing in the Super Bowl. Okay, they know when they get there again, they know exactly what to do. Because let's just be honest, the Super Bowl and a regular season game are two different atmospheres. You'll get where I'm going with this. The Super Bowl is it. It's it. And what I mean by it is that it's for all the marbles. It's to prove who really is the best team in the universe. I might have exaggerated when I said universe, but the best team in the nation. A regular season game is just a warm-up to the big game. While a regular season game matters, the Super Bowl matters 3 times as more. And what I mean by that is that you got to be ready at all times for that. You got to be ready for your big moment. And I know there was a weird segment or weird, transition to this, but let me get to this. You always have to be ready for your big moment because life is very unexpected. You could be walking down the street and the one thing and that one opportunity that you've always wanted could literally be right in your face. And you wouldn't know it until you stop and you look and you see it and you're like, this is it. This is what I've been working for my entire life. Grasp it. Take it. It's yours. Nobody gonna take it from you. Nobody can take anything from you. Not your parents, not your boss. They may take things with only a certain amount of value, but they can't take your brain, they can't take your passion, they can't take your drive, they can't take anything that makes you who you are. You could be getting your limbs literally cut off. They still cannot take the fight out of you. They couldn't. And there may be people that may be, going through a tough time right now that are probably listening to this. And I'm just going to tell you this. Bad times do not last forever. And I tell everybody that. Because life is literally like a roller coaster. Excuse me. Sorry. Life is like a roller coaster. You're going to go up. And when you're going up, it feels great. But when you go down, you're like, oh, man. And then when you go back up, it's awesome. Then when you go back down, it's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Life is full of ups and downs. And an up is coming your way. I promise you, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. Because I believe in good karma and bad karma. I believe generally that if something bad happens to you, something great is going to happen in the future to you. I also believe that you can literally have anything you want. Anything. If you want to be a millionaire, you can do that. You can. If you want to go to the moon, you can do that. If you want to build a time machine, I would love to know how you would, because I would definitely invest in that. But you could. You could. Because the world's full of endless possibilities. It's amazing that people don't stop and realize what you really could do if you just use your brain. It's amazing. Like starting up this podcast, for instance. Let's just use me for an instance. This podcast came from me finally understanding that people don't dictate what I do as a person. People don't sit there and come in my room and tell me what to do. And this is also me exercising my First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech. And it's a beautiful thing. That is probably my favorite amendment. Clearly. No debating. because it gives me the opportunity to sit in front of this microphone and tell you that you can do anything you want. You really can. You no bullshit. You really can. And this is for people who are maybe, again, going through a tough time, or if you're going through a great time, and you're listening to this and you're happy and you're a happy dude, I want to say this: you the man, or the woman, you the woman, you the man, because you are experiencing happiness, and that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants happiness. And people, there's this, and I want to get into this. I really want to dive deep into this. This whole Too Cool thing. Not the tag team. That's another wrestling reference. This whole Too Cool thing. Since when was it too cool to be happy? Huh? When is it too cool to be happy? When is it too cool to say, hey, man, I'm having a great day. Like, I love all my friends, being positive, all of that. When did that become not cool or too cool? When did that happen? I would like to know, because I think it's amazing that people, like motivational speakers like, Tony Robbins, or Joel Osteen, for you religious people. Don't take defensive to that. Who sit there and just give you this wisdom or gospel to make you feel good, and that's why I understand why people go to church. That was the first thing I understood. I'm not a person who goes to church all the time. I'll be the first to admit it, but I do. I have my own relationship with God, and I know I don't talk about religion. I know I shouldn't. I know I always don't talk about religion on this, but this is the only time I'm going to break this rule. I understand why people go to church. They need that wisdom to get through that week, because they know that they possibly know that week is going to be stressful, and and they're just going to be like, oh, but then they're going to remember what their pastor said, and they're going to be like, wow, okay, that gives me enough energy to get through this week, to get to the weekend, to get to next Sunday, so I can hear some more, and I can get to the next week and the next week and the next week. I get that. Me, what do I know? Just a 20-year-old kid from, born in Nebraska, but raised in Texas, who was raised in a great household. A household that people, they weren't the lovey-dovey, but they told you, they didn't sugarcoat. I wasn't raised in a very sugar-coated household. I was told facts. Some of them may have hurt my feelings, but that's how you learn. I was told that it's best not to sugarcoat something, and don't tell people what they want to hear. You want to tell people what they need to hear, even if that hurts their feelings. And people, and there's people out there that love that, okay, for instance, a girl, no matter how many times she may reject it, likes to be told that they're pretty. That's what they want to hear. No girl wants to tell them that maybe, you may be really good looking, but your personality's not all that. And I've talked about this a lot of times, where a girl could look a beautiful, like Tinashe, for instance. I just think she's very pretty. Hi, Tinashe. LOL. That was creepy. I'm sorry. But Tinashe, she's a very beautiful woman. A girl could look like Tinashe, but have the personality of a preppy cheerleader rich girl. Nobody wants that. That makes her look, that in my eyes, that makes her look unattractive. You know what I'm saying? A girl could be, a 6, but if her personality is a 10, that makes her look like a 9. Easy. And you're probably thinking, like, that's a lot of points for an upgrade. But if you have a fantastic personality, I will gravitate towards that. Whether you look like or not. Whether it doesn't matter what you look like. Blue, green, purple, deformed. If you have a fantastic personality, I will gravitate towards that in a minute. Because the world needs more people like you. That's what it is. The world needs more great personalities, especially during this time in the world where, people are, going at each other's necks on social media and just trying to tear each other down. I don't get that. And if you want to call me a hippie for this, go ahead. That doesn't hurt my feelings. But it's true. Since when do we really care about what the next person thinks of us? Since when does that, come into play in our lives? I want to know that. Like, I do. Because you guys want to sit here and just tear each other to pieces and post these negative pics and screenshots of text messages that maybe the person that you're attacking didn't really mean to send, and it spirals out of control and you two become friends. This leads to a fight, and maybe it leads to somebody losing a life. That's something that scares me a lot. The last thing that I want to do is get into a fight with somebody over anything and it end up not being resolved the correct way. That's just truthful. Because everybody sits here and, worries about what the next person's doing. Hey, it's okay to be selfish. I'll be the first to say it. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to look out for yourself, because in the end, that's who number one should be. Unless you have a family. That's a completely different story. I personally don't know nothing about that, but in the future I will. Because you are the only person that can control your life vehicle. Again, life is like a giant highway, and you're in your lane, and you're driving yourself to success. When DJ Khaled says secure the bag, do you really know what that means? Do you know what that means? That means, for example, you could have gotten a huge scholarship to a D1, to a Division I college. And that's huge. And to anybody who's listening, you deserve that. But if you mess that up, like by getting arrested or, maybe, getting into a fight or, cussing out the wrong person, that may cost you your scholarship, and that's not securing your bag. When you got what you want in your hand, you make sure you keep it and don't ever let it go. Because if you do, who knows when's the next chance you're going to get it back. Or, if you know you can get it back, you do everything that you can to get it back and make sure you don't make the same mistake twice. Again, going back to, you may have lost it, but you learned what not to do. Think about that. Now, I want to get into, some relationship talk. Hashtag relationship talk. And, of course, we're going to go back to jealousy. Now, and this is where I tie all these themes together that I've talked to over the past 20 minutes. When you're in a relationship, whether you're the guy or the girl, and you see your significant other maybe talking to another girl, but it's completely innocent. Like maybe the girl is asking for directions, maybe the girl, is lost, maybe he's helping her out with something, and it's completely innocent. There's no cheating involved, there's no nothing, there's no nonsense involved. And you decide to still get mad? Can you please keep this in the back of your mind? You've already won. And what I mean by that is, you've got him or her. You've got their feelings. You've got their passion, all of that. And you've been dating them, and they've proven to you over each month that y'all been dating that they want to stay with you. And you want to throw it all away because he decides to, help some girl, and it's innocent. He's just helping her. Maybe y'all are at school. Maybe it's in high school. Maybe, you're trying to go you need to go meet up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you see him or her talking to a guy or a girl, and he's just helping out. Like maybe it's a new student, and he doesn't know where his class is at. You want to get angry at that? You want to throw your time, love, and effort, or TLC, all away for that? I don't get that. You have to look at the bigger picture. If this person has proved to you that he's in it for the long haul, you shouldn't have to worry about him, going off and cheating on somebody. Now, I understand anything can happen in a relationship. You may not have known the person that you're dealing with, but if you have to have some sort of confidence, right? You gotta have some sort of confidence to say, hey, I trust you. And when I bring up this scenario every time I talk to girls and guys that, if they go out with their girl or guy friends and they're looking great and their significant other asks them to change, I ask them because I want to know how much trust you're putting into your significant other. If you're not putting enough trust into them, then you need to reevaluate something. Relationships should be based on trust is the first thing. Because if it's not, what are you doing? The last thing a relationship should be based on is lust. Because that's just a really long hookup. Man, I don't think anybody wants that. I mean, you may have heard friends with benefits working, but someone catches feelings in the end. And then that another person's going to want something serious. So, think about the next time you get into jealous mode. Think about how long you've been in a relationship with this person and how much they have proven that you can trust them. Just think about it. Just something to think about. I mean, personally, I'm not in a relationship right now, but I've learned over the past couple of years how to act in a relationship. And whoever, comes across my way in the future, I'll know exactly how to act accordingly. Now, you see, that's just who I am. I may not be doing the certain things that everybody else is doing, but I have the tools ready to go to whenever those things happen. Like when people get on to other people about, living at home and not paying bills. Personally, me, I don't. I mean, I'm a 20-year-old kid who lives at home, but I go to work, I go to school. So when I learn things every day, so when I get out on my own, my parents won't have to worry about me. And to whoever who's listening to this, you probably, if you feel the same way, you wouldn't want your parents to worry about you every moment of the day. Oh, oh, did Hunter pay the water bill? Did Hunter pay his to pay his internet bill, his cable bill? Did he pay his rent on time? I don't want them to think about that. I want my parents to be on a vacation somewhere, and I call them and be like, "Hey, I got a promotion. I'm getting paid big money, and I'm taking y'all out for a steak dinner." That's what I think every parent wants to hear from their child when they, finally leave the nest and go out and make something of themselves. They want them to be a success. And not a big Hollywood over the top millionaire success, but they want them to be financially stable and do good for themselves. And us young people, I hate using that term, we always get into it with our parents, and we may say stuff we don't mean, but if you think about it, they're really just trying to do what's best for us. They may show it in a weird way, but they really are. And that's something to be proud of, that if you want your parents to if your parents want you to succeed in life, they don't want you to, if you become a millionaire, that's a bonus. But they just want you to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and fight with your own 2 hands. That's it. That's all they want. They want you to be able to understand that life is sometimes hard. But if you have the correct tools to understand that life can't be too hard, then it'll be okay. I promise. Everything's going to be all right. And I'm going to wrap this up with a little hip hop talk. I decided to cut a lot of material out of this because I feel like I was rambling on, because this was supposed to be an hour long, but I cut a lot of material out, and I want to just end this on a good note. I want to end it on a good note. I don't want this talking to y'all shouldn't be the same length as a podcast, because there's a lot of ground we can cover with just 2 people, but there's also a lot of ground I can cover with just 1. So I'm gonna let y'all on a little bit of insight for hip hop for me. Now, we all know, everybody knows, if you're an avid Twitter user, that More Life just dropped. The playlist from music phenomenon Drake. And people lost their minds. Literally. And I like the project personally. I like it. I jam to it on my. I mean, it's in my rotation of songs that I listen to every day. And but you know what's just crazy to me, man? It's crazy how someone from not even this country has such a ginormous presence in the U.S. This playlist, and what I mean by playlist is it's not a mixtape, it's not an album, it's not even a project, it's a playlist. Whatever that means. He developed he used a different music terminology to describe this body of work. And it's still going to sell almost 500,000 units in 1 week. It's supposed to do 505. That's incredible. And sorry if you guys can hear that. That's my cat meowing at my door. But I'm about to wrap this up. So that's incredible, though. And people, if you haven't listened to More Life, give it a couple. It's 22 songs. I know that's a lot of music to digest, but give it a little bit of shuffles, give it a little bit of rotations. I don't expect you to listen to the whole project. If you do, I mean, more power to you. But listen to songs like Madiba Rhythm, which is a Jamaican thing. Madibariddim. Yeah, if you see it on the track list, you'll know what I'm talking about. Free Smoke, KMT, Portland with Quavo and Travis Scott. That's personally my favorite. I've been jamming to that. That's a great song. That's actually, matter of fact, since it's talking to the people, Let's Fight 96. That's a song of the day, people. Portland by Drake featuring Quavo and Travis Scott. That's definitely a party starter. Definitely. This man, Drake, starts off his verse by saying, "My side girl got a 5S with the screen crack. Still hit me back right away." Now, if that's not loyalty, I don't know what is, man. I don't know what is. That's incredible. You have a 5S, not a 6, not a 7, but a 5S, and the screen's cracked, and she still hits you back? That's incredible. That's incredible. That's incredible. So, I hope, me talking to you guys and, spilling some of these thoughts, helped you in some sort of way. It helps me because, releasing this is something like, it's like therapy for me, because this is honestly what I think. And if you guys, like this series, give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Share it on Twitter. Share it on, share it to your friends. Send it to your friends. If you like the Flight 96 movement, leave likes. Leave likes. That means I'm doing something right. If you leave a comment or something, DM me on Twitter or something saying, "Hey, good podcast. Hey," or "Hey, could you address this in your next podcast, maybe?" Or, I know you talk about relationships, or I know you talk about, this. Could you address this? I'm open to suggestions. I'm easy to work with. And again, if you want to be on the show, I don't discriminate against anybody. Whether you live in Canada, Texas, Pennsylvania, New York, California, anywhere. If you listen to the show and you say, "Hey, I want to talk with this guy," hit me up on Twitter at Hunter Foreman, BYHUNTERFOREMAN. Yeah. Same thing for Instagram. And of course, if you want to listen for all the announcements that for future Flight 96 episodes, follow me on Snapchat at hforeman_23. I use social media to my advantage so that way I can put out the message that, hey, Flight 96 is coming and there's going to be some good stuff that you want to hear. Because who doesn't want to hear positive talking? We've heard all this negative talk from everybody and their mother for the past 10 years. And I think I'm just going to have to put my foot down and start the movement of positive talking again, where we all can be cool with each other. We're not going to sing Kumbaya around the campfire. Nah, I don't expect that to happen. But at least stop with the exposing on Twitter, the screenshots, the shade throwing. At least reduce on that. Because you never know what someone is going through, and that could literally push them over the edge. And we don't want to lose lives on planet Earth, because we're put on here to figure out what life is really about, and that's a beautiful thing. So please, give a nice gesture to somebody this week. Hold somebody's door open. Help somebody, if they drop something on the floor. If you're in school and somebody drops all their stuff on the floor, help them out. They'll appreciate it. I hope they do. Because if they don't, there's something wrong with them. there might be something going on. Album reviews will start next month. I'll do 2 a month. One will be a request from whoever, and one will be a personal choice of mine. Again, you know exactly where to hit me up to be on the show. I don't discriminate. And if you're a battle rapper, if this happens to get in the hands of a battle rapper, come on this show, man. I'm the biggest battle rap fan in Texas, probably. Close. And I want to talk to you guys about all the psychology and great things that you guys do with words on the show. And of course, I want to get to know the people behind the MC. That shouldn't be hard. But as for, well, there's nobody here, but, well, I'm Hunter Foreman. I'm just a 20-year-old kid who created a podcast so that way he can talk positive to the people. That's it. Love, life, and positivity. LLP, man. That's it. Next week, Krishan Creighton should be on the show. If you guys have heard of him, he's a very good friend of mine. He's been trying to be on the show, but lots of, and the thing is with this, guys, you have to understand there's always going to be scheduling conflicts. It's going to happen. So if there's not an episode that gets aired, if there's not an episode that gets recorded one week, it 9 times out of 10 it's something that I can't control. So I apologize ahead of time. But other than that, we should be expecting it back to regular scheduled programming next week. Battle of the Sexes is still going to happen. I just need to get all the details ironed out before anything happens. But this has been Flight 96. This has been talking to the people. I hope wherever you are listening to this, whether you're in your car, coming home from work, or coming from a friend's house, whether you're, sitting at home with your headphones in, don't have nothing to do, I promise you, man, this may not be the best, but this show, I try to give the most positivity in every time. And that's the best that I can do. So, my name's Hunter Foreman. This has been Talking to the People Part 2. Album reviews coming next month. Hit me with some suggestions. Other than that, y'all know where to hit me up. And oh yeah, y'all know the slogan. One love.